Hi everybody, thanks for joining me today. Hope you are all well and safe and having a great day. I'm having a pretty good day. I've locked myself in my studio. I've been doing loads of painting and just letting the world drift by. Got myself a flask. Keep pouring out cups of tea and they go cold. I have like one sip and forget to drink them and they go cold. So this is the answer and it's working great. So I love my new flask. Anyway, that's besides the point. Autodesk Sketchbook. It's a free app and it's available on the PC, iPad and desktop. And I discovered this week that it has pastels. So I am in Autodesk Sketchbook and I am going to continue with my theme of painting muddy fields and waterlogged fields because I'm still into them. And I'm using Autodesk Sketchbook. Why am I using this? Well, I was drawn to it this weekend because Charlotte, my daughter, the one who's Killy's mummy. Now Killy, as you know, I paint him quite often on the channel, and he's a disabled little boy, severely disabled, and I don't want to go into that too much, but he is absolutely gorgeous. So Killy's mummy was saying that she wanted to get into something where she could earn a little bit of money at home. And she was inquiring about working from home, and she was inquiring about digital painting because she's never tried it before, never had anything to do with it, and wondered about how to get into it. So I said, well, for a start, I've got about 500 videos you could watch on YouTube that would get you going. So there's that. But oh no, Dad, I can't sit and watch stuff. You've got to show me. Okay, Charlotte. So I'm sure all you parents out there know where I'm coming from with this one. So she's got an old iPad. It is quite old. It's a fair few years old. It's not a huge one. And she wanted to know how to set about it. And I was looking at app. I didn't even have to really think about it. The first app that I done, I thought she's going to need a fairly kind of app that's going to, a basic app that's going to run on a really old iPad just to see if she likes it. And the one that I chose, I didn't choose Procreate, Artrage or anything. The one that I chose for her was this. Autodesk Sketchbook. And the reason I chose it is because she's working on a budget which is like zilch. She hasn't got a budget really. And I thought this will do pretty much everything. It's got one of the best watercolor brushes I've ever seen, called the Salty Watercolor Brush. Check this out. It's just so nice. Look at that. So there's that, and she's into that kind of dreamy watercolor look. So there was that. I knew it had got that. So I thought that would be a good choice for her. This is going to be a pastel drawing, by the way. So and she loved it. She got straight into it. We've got layers going off here, and you've got alpha lock, so you could sort of lock a layer and then paint over pixels that you've already painted. You've seen me do that loads of times. And it just got everything going, and it was free, and she loved it straight away, totally got into it. But while I was looking through it, I discovered it had got down here pastels. Where are we? Pastels. So I thought I'll do a pastel drawing. I've got my sketching now, so I've done this a bit unusual for me, with like beginning with a drawing. That was just because I was talking. So I just click on there, and it gets this little circle. I click on that. Oh, hang on. How do I do this? It's not playing. There we go. And choose the pen. Select the pen, and I've now got the pastels. I've never drawn with pastels in this before. I don't know if it's going to be, if it's going to work for me or not. But I want to give it a try, because this is a free app, and it's free on the PC. It's free on the iPad, and it's free on Mac. So it doesn't matter what operating system you are using, you have got a free app to use for doing pastels. So if you're using an iPad and you don't want to, say, buy or can't afford to buy realistic paint, you can get this for free. And let's see how it works. So you've got, basically the way it works, you see I've been changing this background colour. On the bottom right, we've got this background, and all it is a colour picker where you can change the background. And I do like pinky backgrounds when I'm doing pastels. You've seen me do it a few times now. So I'm going to stick with that. Maybe a kind of a grayed off one. There we are. I quite like that. So that's the colour of my paper. So I'm very happy with that. I've got a layer that I'm going to lock, which is my sketch. So I can't go back onto that. And now I am going to start playing around with these pastels. So I can shut this down now, and make my image. I tell you what is a bit weird. You've got the you press the space bar, and you can move your canvas around, and usually you hold the space and control key to resize it. But this one, you've got this kind of tool with a magnifying glass in the middle, and you just touch that and resize it. It took me a while to work out how to do that. And then you can move it and just resize it and get it exactly how you want. So that was the weirdest thing that I've ever seen. I think maybe, can you rotate it here as well? Yeah, you can rotate it through that as well if you're into rotating. I tend not to bother too much with rotating. So I've got a feeling these brushes are going to be a bit basic, but because this is a fairly old app. Right, let's get into the painting. I haven't really tried these brushes before, so I think that looks like it might be quite useful for getting in the dark. So let's start off with some purples, and I found that if you put a lot of pressure on, you get a nice mark, and light pressure sort of blends it a little bit. Let's try it a bit. It's not a brush that you're going to be able to size up much, this one. That's about it. I think if you try and do that, you're going to get these dots, which are they're just not going to work. So I'm conscious about the darks. I want it much kind of really dark. I'm thinking, first of all, getting these shadows in. Try a different brush. Ah, that one. That's quite an interesting marker. This one, you got like fine lines, you put pressure on, you get a big stroke. Make some interesting marks with that. I think we need to get in some dark greens in here as well. Try a different brush. What's this one? Well, this is an interesting one. Oh, this gives you like an edge on one side and a blend on the other. Got carried away then. Didn't really mean to do that. But not giving me the dark I want. Oh, that's maybe a bit more like it. We're not getting darks, are we? What's going to give me a dark? What's this one? That'll be useful when we come to put the sky in. If I want almost black, why is that not giving me a black? Use that one, it will. Maybe I need to use that. That's called the... Oh dear, what have we done there? Brush hook. No, that's not what I want. Brush palette. Here we are. Pastel drops. Okay. Well, they're not the most intuitive of pastel brushes I've used, I have to say. But let's not condemn them just yet. Can I pick a colour? Yes, I can. Pick a colour off the canvas. That's all right. That's the Control key. Sorry, the Alt key does that. It's soft, some of these. Oops, I didn't mean to go into there. That's out the tree. There we go. I'm struggling to find a brush that's going to give me... Oops. The light. Sort of bold marks that you get with pastels. Does that one do it? Oh, that's a bit better. I'm not so sure that's a pastel brush. What do you think? Oh. I'll be careful I don't touch these tools up here. And that's, there we go. Trying to get some lights in. This is that ugly stage, isn't it? Don't like that one, that's too fine. That's a kind of a blender. It's not too bad. I can sort of, oh yeah, I like that. That's the one I want. So it's this second brush, which is called the soft wash. Why would you call a pastel a wash? That's the, why didn't I try this one first? That's the one I've been looking for. Right, now we're cooking. I hope people have stayed with me, not abandoned. Not abandon this exercise. So I've got the sky in. Interesting. That's, so I could use, I think that we're going to get sort of use that for sharp edges and use this blender to merge them perhaps. Sharp colour in there as well. Finally, I feel like I'm getting somewhere. We've got to go with a nice lime green, haven't we? But you need this brush. I'm not convinced that that is a pastel type brush, but with this one after, you can then sort of go in and blend that in. Just the brush a bit smaller. The square brackets do work for sizing your brush. You've got this puck thing as well. Not that one, that's for adjusting the opacity, I believe. I just don't like them, so I'm not going to use them at all. And it's also got kind of a nice wood colour look. There was another brush which was quite chisely. Yeah, this one. That might be nice. Just to, that's kind of got a two-tone look to it, hasn't it? Try this one. Yeah. It's a good look, like they're going to be good for putting a very soft layer of pastel over the top. Oh, that's a good one. So this is the triangle. Okay, let's see what we can do with this. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Let's go for blue. more green. Oh, kind of that colour. I like that for just sweeping in bits of colour. Then I can go for a light blue. Pop that in there like that. Try this one. That's quite nice because it's not quite as sharp. Got a little bit of softer edge on it. And if I want that softer one, or the harder one, I can pick that as well. I'll tell you what, you don't need a lot of pressure on that before it becomes quite big, I think is the word. This app's really quite old, you know. It hasn't. I checked it for updates before I started drawing, and it says I was up to date. So it's not had an update. It's got to be well, maybe a couple of years, perhaps. So, and you can, I think, I'm right in thinking I could change the brush. It's better. I can modify these brushes myself as well. That's better. Just tweaking the size of that. And green. We're getting somewhere. Let's just off a bit. sort of push these colours. This is like almost blending with your fingers. Soften off edges a little bit. So I've got to say at this point that the tools are crude. They're not like using Critter. But they're not bad. I'm getting, once you get into them, you can start getting some nice realistic looking effects. I'm using that number 2 brush again. Try the grainy one. Not so fond of that. I like this where you take the light colour and brush it into. So I got that number 2 brush called the soft wash. Why a wash? I don't know. Pastels. I'm pushing the soft colour into the darker colour, and it's definitely a blending. I think the more their interpretation of pastels is much more of a blending type style than not. Dark blue. Just want that a bit sharper there. Let's get this gate in, or the fence. I think we need to do that now. I'm using that triangle brush. That feels like paint. That doesn't feel like pastels at all. You see, I would argue that this is a free app, which it clearly is, but so's Critter, you know, and this doesn't compare with Critter for pastels. If you've got the Digital Atelier pastel brushes I'm talking about, I'm not really sure what the Critter default pastels are like, because I kind of got straight into the Digital Atelier ones. But having said that, Critter isn't on the Apple operating system, so there's that, and it's not on the iPad, so there's that. And this isn't bad, it's just not quite the same as using brush a bit smaller. Okay, it's a little bit on the small side, isn't it? It wants to go one more. There we go. There we are. Obviously, we've got some highlights on this gate. There we go. Now, let's try. Oh, that's a nice little brush. This is the Arrow. Okay, Arrow 1. I think that will be perfect for putting in accents. See, it has got some nice brushes in here. You've got to find them. I want to try and capture this little bit of light just here. Oh, I do like this brush. This is a nice brush. You get these really random marks, which feels more like pastel. Definitely. Get the green in. I'm getting close to this being finished, I think. Definitely think we can use some of those marks in here. That's it. I'm just putting in some of these twigs and branches behind there, and then I'm going to come over with some lighter ones. I like to change the colour of these as well. Just random twigs and things. Right, let's get some light ones in. Oh, that's a little bit bold. Maybe I've got the brush a bit big. I am starting to enjoy working with this now. Just putting in final remarks. This is a nice brush. You can use it for twigs, and then you can put some leaves in. I think I've got through the ugly stage. I think we're out of that now, which is nice. I'm just going to put some more darks in. Now this brush is called the Pastel Drops, because I know I can get some nice darks with that one. Just wanted to beef that up a little bit and maybe add a few more. I'm wondering whether to just create a new layer. Is that going to let me? It is. It lets me put in more lines without them blending with other colours. And a bit sharper. Let's see. Make that one a bit bolder as well. I'm fiddling, aren't I, really? I'm just sort of fiddling now. Let's fiddle around that a bit then. I don't want that twig in there, do I? No, I don't. I don't see how that's going to add anything at all. A few little marks there. Possibly here as well, actually. Yep. Go back to the arrow brush. That's acting more like a blender. Can I merge that layer down? Merge layers. Do I have to select two? Oops, I've done it. Do I select two? Control key. Yeah, that's it. Merge layers. Merge those layers. That's better now. It's acting like a pastel again instead of soft glaze over the top. That was weird. It's a bit white, I felt. Just a bit too white. Got no idea how long this painting's taken. Have a quick look. 35 minutes, that's not bad, is it, I suppose? Should be winding it up soon now. I just like to keep adding little bits. I can't help it. Put some real accents in. This really is an arrowhead, isn't it, if you're not careful? I'll make sure it not. Kind of like the red. I don't want it to be too dominant. I'm just gonna knock it back a little bit so it's not quite so in your face. There. That's better. I think I'm really there, you know. I don't know if there's much more I can do to this. Add the odd more branch. Yeah, I think we're good at that. So, what do I think? Autodesk Sketchbook. It's not as good for pastels as other apps. Say Critter. It feels a little bit dated. It feels like the brushes need updating, but you can fiddle with these. I don't know how much. You haven't got a lot of features to play around with. Can you change? Oh, okay, you can import your own textures and things, so that makes a huge difference. So you could probably get yourself a decent set of brushes. I think that's a nice painting though. Free app is working perfectly sharp for Charlotte to get her up and going. For the kind of work she wants to do, she doesn't want to do traditional painting like this. It's more graphic type work. So this app, just as a try to see if she likes it, I thought was great. I didn't try the alpha lock at all, did I? I click on that, I believe, to do the alpha lock, and then it's not going to work too well because everything's covered with pastels now, so that won't make much of a difference. But a nice little app, and if you want to use pastels and you haven't got the funds to buy, say, Realistic Paint Studio or Procreate or Artset Pro, I mean, they all do it better, to be honest, they do. But if you just want a free app because I've got a tight budget, or you want to try something on a Mac for free, then give it a go. But I mean, as a painting app, if these were paints, I'd be talking very differently, because just because they don't feel like pastels doesn't mean that they're not a nice brush to use. Let's just get it signed. So there we go. Pastels in Autodesk Sketchbook. Okay, because it's free, but if it wasn't free, they would be what would they be? Lacking, to be honest. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, big thumbs up as always. It's much appreciated. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, because I've got loads of videos like this and I would love to be sharing them with you. So hopefully I'll see you all in the next one. Oh, and don't forget everybody, stay safe, stay sane, and keep painting. Bye.